For the past 20 years, the Soviet Union has pursued a doctrine of massive arms buildup in order to support an offensive presence throughout the world. An underlying fear of U.S. air power, both fixed-wing and helicopter, has led the Soviets to develop a significant air defense capability, creating a virtual blanket of radar coverage to protect their armored columns and other assets. In order to meet this threat, the Army has adopted a policy of seeing deep to disrupt rear echelon forces. Supporting this strategy, a required operational capability was issued for the development of an intelligence electronic warfare unattended airborne vehicle, or UAV. Priority payloads for this platform are imaging and signal intelligence ESM systems for penetrating missions. The Advanced Concepts Division of CECOM's Center for EW RSTA was tasked with demonstrating an ELINT ESM capability on a UAV platform that could provide timely information to Army tactical commanders. A decision was made to participate in the Golden Saber 14 exercise at Fort Hood, Texas during May 1987. A tech-based effort under the Tactical Electronic Warfare Technology Program element had been underway at EW RSTA since 1981, in which microwave and millimeter wave direction-finding subsystems and a high-speed signal processor were developed. The microwave subsystem consists of a wideband DF receiver and parameter measurement unit for intercepting high-priority threat radars in the microwave region. A millimeter wave DF antenna was also developed to handle the emerging air defense radars that are entering various inventories. The Modular Adaptive Signal Sorter is a digital signal processor which sorts, deinterleaves, and characterizes the latest modern modulation radar signals. The separate developments were integrated to form the MedFly prototype, a lightweight, miniaturized ESM direction-finding location and intercept system that was successfully demonstrated in FY85. Prior testing was conducted at the EW RSTA computer facility, where the flights were simulated to determine optimum paths. Terrain data on the Fort Hood area was provided by the Defense Mapping Agency, digitized and stored in a VAX computer. Numerous flight paths were generated, and line-of-sight calculations were obtained and displayed. The U.S. Army PM-UAV provided a surrogate test aircraft and systems integrator for the MedFly payload for a technical test at Moffett Field, California in April 1987, prior to going to Fort Hood. A Datalink consisting of ARC-164 radios and a KY-58 were interfaced to the payload equipment, which was mounted in the back seat of the aircraft. This test was performed to ensure that the direction-finding system was working correctly and to send data down the link to the ground station where emitter identification and location reports were generated. The entire system was calibrated on a turntable, and the aircraft took off on its maiden flight on a very short expanse of the runway at Moffett Field. Signals from the emitters under test, the Moffett Field Precision Approach Radar and a Georgia Tech test radar, were successfully intercepted and sent down the data link to the ground station, where emitter identification reports were displayed. The display shows the active intercept frequency channels, emitter identifications, the parametric data including frequency, PRI, pulse width, amplitude, time of detection, and the number of DF cuts. This information was used to calculate emitter locations for each emitter. The results of the Moffett Field test prove conclusively that emitter locations within 100 meters are achievable from a system of this type on penetrating missions. On May 1st, 1987, the aircraft, payload, and ground station were transported to Fort Hood, Texas, home of the 3rd Mobile Army Corps, to participate in the Intellex II portion of the Golden Saber 14 exercise. During the exercise, a number of collection assets were used to provide intercept information on targets of interest. The Quick Look 2 aircraft, the Guardrail 5 aircraft, the UPD-7, and the Team Pack ground system were used as sensors during field maneuvers of airborne and ground equipment. One of the goals of our demonstration was to determine how best to include UAV ELINT ESM data into the appropriate Army ground station. EW-RISTA engineers coordinated with the airfield commander and then determined the optimum flight pattern based on the waypoints determined by the EW-RISTA simulation. EW-RISTA engineers also utilized a radar measurement set to predetermine the parameters of the test emitters for comparison with MedFly output reports. In addition, a marine radar was used by EW-RISTA for pre-flight checkout and ultimately as a test emitter. The aircraft flies a path that would take it within visual and radar range of the objective threat emitters located at Post Oak Mountain. Multiple DF cuts are then taken and the data sent down to the ground station located at North Fort Hood, where TAC ELINT reports would be formatted and sent directly to the CTOC, which was co-located with the MedFly ground station. This view of the MedFly payload prior to installation in the aircraft at Fort Hood gives a clear picture of the major components. At the top of the picture is the microwave receiver. The 4 cables connect the circularly disposed antenna array to the receiver. The parameter measurement unit, or PMU, is in the center. This unit provides parametric data on a pulse-by-pulse basis to the processor. Directly above the PMU, 2 ARC 164 UHF radios and 1 KY58 will be mounted. This forms the Datalink, which transmits intercepted radar data in real time down to the ground station. At the bottom of the picture is the mass processor. This associates the intercepted pulses with their respective emitters and produces an emitter characterization report. A LORAN navigational unit and the attitude gyros are mounted in the aircraft. The lightweight frame is installed first, followed by the individual units of this modular payload. And finally, the circular antenna array, which gives an instantaneous 360-degree field of view in azimuth, is attached. The blue and white van shown here served as the MedFly ground station. The 30-foot erectable mast provided a good line of sight to the aircraft for the Datalink. 2 major computers are shown within the MedFly ground station. The Mini IPF receives the downlinked emitter line of bearing and characterization reports and determines the location of the emitter. This data is then sent to the display computer, which formats a proper TAC ELINT report and sends it in real time via a KG-84 to the Core Troop Operations Center, or CTOC, in the main command post. The surrogate UAV aircraft was piloted for this demonstration in order to expedite testing, improve the safety factor, and reduce costs. Ultimately, the MedFly will fly in an unmanned aerial vehicle. The aircraft took off from Gray Airfield to participate in the exercise. Looking closely at the underside of the aircraft, you can see the MedFly antenna just in front of the landing gear. Once airborne, the UAV flew a predetermined flight path to take it in the vicinity of the threat emitters at Post Oak Mountain. At an altitude of 3,500 feet, the vehicle was extremely difficult to see visually and initially could not be acquired by the threat radar target generator system, which served as the primary target radar. Co-located with the target radar are 2 test emitters supplied by EW-RISTA in support of the Apache Training Brigade. They also served as threats for this intelligence exercise. Shown here is the TV screen inside the radar van, which gives a visual display of the target that it has acquired or has locked onto. Because of the small size of the aircraft and its construction from composite material, the radar continually broke lock during the target tracking mode.
Okay, it doesn't want to lock on, but I have him on the radar. Okay, I got a lock.
Okay, what system?
Signal's getting weak. Just lost him, he broke it. Back to system 1.
Intercepted pulses are initially characterized by the mass processor on board the aircraft and then passed via an encrypted downlink to the MedFly ground station, where the Mini IPF identifies and locates each emitter. This is displayed along with the position, heading, altitude, and attitude of the aircraft. Multiple DF cuts are used to produce emitter location ellipses, as shown in the display. This data is then sent to the display computer, which formats the TAC ELINT reports. The camouflage vans shown here in front of the Joint Stars ground station mast form the nerve center of the Corps command post. During the morning of 7 May 1987, The Medfly ground station was located next to the main Corps command post at North Fort Hood. The Medfly sent TAC-ELINT reports into a computer in the CTOC in real time while the aircraft was flying as a surrogate UAV. The demonstration at Fort Hood was very successful and showed that real-time, accurate threat emitter reports could be provided to the appropriate Army element by a UAV platform with a lightweight ELINT ESM payload. EW RSTA engineers are currently working in the areas of EW technology development, threat analysis and deployment, and digital simulation for threat avoidance and survivability to ensure that U.S. Army tactical electronic warfare systems will meet the future threat environment. The Center for EW RSTA is prepared to continue the development of this payload for ultimate inclusion into the Army inventory.